This week on Hey the Parents, we're talking about busting out those video games and having a video game night with your kiddos. It doesn't matter if you have a PS5, an Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, Mac, iPad, smart TV, or something else. There are so many ways to play. It's not about the latest and the greatest, but about the time you spend together. So charge those controllers, blow into your cartridges, and dust off those 30 lives codes because it's time for up, up, down, down, left, right, BA select start, because we're going to get started here. And of course, we talk about when we were younger, mishaps with our own kids, and what the supposed experts say. Because there's the three of us and all of you. I'm Michael Height.
I'm Sarah D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you.
There are no rules in this house. Not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
What's going on?
I almost said good to see you three. I'm so excited there's three of us. Last week there was two of us. Sarah and I were like just conversing, and we missed our buddy Mike. So we're glad that we got the three of us here together for yet another show.
Oh, man, we sure did. Yeah, I hear you. So before the show, Mike just happened to mention that his wife is in a boot. And I was like, oh, funny, because my son, too, is also in a boot.
No way.
So at this point, at the orthopedic emergency room or whatever, or like the walk-in clinic that we go to, I need like a freaking flyer, like punch card. Like, you know, after like 10th visit, I'm gonna get like a coffee. Yeah. I think I know the receptionist so well. I know like almost all the PAs. I'm like, hey guys, what's up? How's it going?
Should we get a snack from the vending machine by now?
It really is, and it's always with the same child, my son Julian. So there he. I love this man, but his visuospatial, which we'll talk about later on too, is not always up. You know, it's not always his strongest point.
Hey, where'd that wall come from?
Exactly. So I get the phone call. Hi, your son is, he's injured. Come get him. And I'm like, do I have to get him? And they're like, yeah, you have to get him. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go to school, and so there he is. I'm like, what happened, Julian? And he's like, well, Mom, it was indoor recess, and we're not supposed to be playing rough, but we were playing rough. I'm like, uh-huh. And he was doing some like fancy Kobe Bryant basketball move, like a little swish to the left, to the right. And on the rug, he kind of tripped over it, rolled on his ankle, toe area. We get there to the walk-in clinic, and they're like, okay, hi again. They go over down all the list of injuries he's had previously. I'm like, yep, mm-hmm. And he explains what happened, and the x-ray comes back. They're like, okay, it's probably sprained. Put him in the boot just to be safe than sorry. Here's a note. And then the next day I get a phone call. And I pick it up, I'm like, hello. And they're like, hi, yeah. So, the radiologist looked at the x-ray again, and they're like, yeah, there might be a potential fracture in the second toe. And I was like, oh, really? And and the third and fourth. And I was like, oh. I was like, what the heck?
No way.
So they're like, because I had already set up an appointment now with his regular orthopedist. Like, when you see the doctor, he'll because apparently fractures, they don't necessarily see them right away until they start healing. Yep. So once I go to the orthopedics in 2 weeks, they'll let me know what has happened to my child.
Oh my God.
And I just look at my son. I'm just like, really, kid? Like, can we just I'm gonna wrap him up in like bubble.
I was just gonna say,
wrap.
He's awesome, but we're gonna get him a bubble suit. That's it.
Yes, that's kind of it with Julian. I love that kid, but like the injuries, man. I should get like a discount, like a wall for myself.
Because I've come to you with like questions about the orthopedic stuff, and it's so funny because like I had known like you had these experience, like not this latest one. I'm looking at you like you have three heads because I knew the first part, didn't know the second part, Kevin. But remember, you were like, I'm not staying here for lunch today because I got to leave early to take Juju to the doctor.
I'm like, bye, guys.
Sarah knows like the phone number. She knows the hours. She knows which doctor you're going to go to. It's hysterical.
I'm there. I'm all for it.
With a fracture, what's the deal with that? Like when you like if it's like a couple days and it starts getting worse or getting more pain, is that kind of like when you know to like go back to the doctor, or it's really like with the x-ray, or like how do you?
So like with Julian, I've learned, and like I guess you learn with every child, and if you got one like mine, he has a really high pain tolerance. So it might just seem like a twisted ankle or like a hurt hand or something like that. And then like a day or two later, he's like, wow, this really hurts. Like it's not getting better. So we wind up at the orthopedist, whether it's the walk-in or an actual appointment, and then that's when they probably see something kind of has gone on more. So now I just learned as soon as he gets hurt, just to bring him there because might as well, because he thinks he's fine, but he's not. Like he's like dancing on his foot. I'm like, nope, dude, you gotta like lay off that. So I guess it's just like something I've learned with him. You know,
that can be even tougher too, because sometimes he could possibly make it worse if he has a high pain tolerance.
Exactly. So that's why I just bring him right away. That way he'd hear, because he's the kind of kid that needs to hear from like the experts, like sit down, ice it or whatever. Then he'll listen. Like if mom tells him if mom tells him he's like, meh, whatever, like he's like, I'm good. So
speaking of pain tolerances.
Oh yeah, pain tolerances. Well, let me tell you, I've been through some pain these past couple of weeks.
Yes, fill us in.
Oh my God, I know.
So just to be clear, people at home, like Mike started telling us about this, but wait, stop. We're gonna start the show. We Sarah and I literally have no idea what he's about to say. Just to be really 100% frank with you, we're not sure where this is going. So the mic is yours.
Off the rail. No, it's funny because this past couple of weeks it was vacation time, the holiday break, things like that, and everything was going fine until everybody got sick. Like out of everybody, we all got COVID in the house, and then we all came through and it was fine. And then once we see the horizon, right, we get through the storm where the horizon's right there. We're about to make land and everything's going to be a better day. My wife actually was like cleaning up like some gifts and stuff, and one of the things we got Hayden, my baby, my toddler, was like the slide thing where she can climb and go down, and it's kind of heavy, and she dropped it.
Oh God!
Cleaning,
no!
And it fell right on her foot.
Oh my gosh!
She fractured her toe, and so I'm like, am I being punked?
I swear,
my gosh.
Did you just get a break?
Oh my God, poor Taylor too. Oh my God. Oh.
I felt so bad.
What did you do
her.
in your past life?
Oh my God.
So I'm
God.
like, okay.
Poor Taylor.
She just got out of COVID. Now she's got a broken toe, Like it is.
I just pictured like the cartoon, like with the flat toe, and it's like throbbing, and it's like, oh my God. Oh, poor Taylor.
Why do you keep smiting me?
Oh God, it was bad. It was bad. So, I had to drive her around to the podiatrist. I had to go pick up the kids. I had to ice her. Like it was just a nightmare the past 2 weeks. It's like, it's funny because as a parent, you see vacation coming and you're like, oh, cool, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna relax.
Yes. It's gonna be the most relaxing, best vacation ever.
Yeah, and it was not that. And then I feel bad
I'm so
too
sorry,
for my wife, obviously, because she went through it, and the kids. But all in all, everybody's doing okay now. The boot's on. COVID's over. And we're kind of pushing through our lives, and we're moving forward. So
yay, 2024!
Yay, 2024! You're
Who's
amazing.
winning? We need a punch card.
Oh man, I know.
And we're here ready to talk about video games. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because you know what? I know what you would want it to do during this break if everyone wasn't sick, was to spend some family time with each other. Well, if you had the time to play some video games, we could talk about that. But first, let's go back in the time machine and like check it out. Did you guys play video games like back in the day, like with your family or your siblings?
Oh, man. Like with me, I don't know about you guys. So I have an older sister, Melissa. Hey, son. And she actually used to house me on video games. Like it was crazy. So we had like my parents set up like this basement area. And it was like this cold basement. I don't know why we went down there. But anyway, so we had this Atari. Back in the day, I had an Atari 800. We're going like some major old school stuff. And my sister used to kick my behind at like pole position and Pac-Man. We used to play Joust. Joust was the jam. You playing two birds. You got to like, it's awesome. So anyway, so we would go and I remember we would go to, every year we go like away, like a little vacation with my grandmother and stuff, up to the Catskills. But that is a different episode entirely. But anyway, so we were up there and we would play. They had like an arcade there. So like, you know, at night, you know, what else you can do? Go to the pool, play some arcade games. And they had, I don't know if you remember these two games, Gauntlet and Spy Hunter. Those were the best flipping games. Oh man, am I on an island right now?
Gauntlet Legends or Gauntlet?
Well, Gauntlet Legends would be based on the game from the 80s, where you basically was like top down. So this was the coolest game because 4 people could play at the same time. So you hop on the machine and then you would choose between like the warrior, the wizard, the Valkyrie, and the archer, whatever it was. And you would like just like basically kill waves of bad guys and make their way through this gauntlet, this little maze. But the game would talk to you and it'd be like, Valkyrie, low in life. You know, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so we'd play and it was killer. And Spy Hunter was a game that was like the white car that you try to like drive into like the red truck, get power ups, shoot stuff, and it would have that and it would be amazing. Everybody would be like crowding around watching. So that was like, I love the arcade, but when we were at home, my sister would kick my butt. But it took a number of years before those roles got swapped. Did you guys play video games, like really like old school video games when you were younger? Did your parents have like ColecoVision or any of that stuff?
Well, not Coleco, but like we had. I think there was an Atari that our neighbor had, but I vaguely remember that. We had Nintendo, so you know, like that was a lot of fun. So Anthony and I used to play. Do you guys remember there was like an Olympic game, like Olympic sports
wait, you
game?
had the pad? Did you have the pad?
Yes, we had the trackpad that you had to run
that
like.
Was the ultimate moment of cheating, right? Because you would actually run on it for the first day you had it, and then what would you do with your hands? You go
and then like well, we would just run on it, and I think because like I was like tinier, it didn't really like register my weight, so I always lost. I used to work so hard, and my brother would be like crushing it or whatever. So and then you like do the big jump and stuff like that. That was probably like one of my favorite things to play. Because I always thought I was going somewhere, but I really wasn't. And then
meanwhile, like that thing was so slick.
Oh
like,
gosh, yes.
It was like forget about Juju getting hurt. That thing was like just.
That was a death trap in itself.
Like, walk away with like injuries yourself for that thing.
Like my parents didn't really play with us, but I vaguely remember my dad one time playing, you know, like with a cigarette in his hand. He was like going at it.
I love this picture of this Italian man.
So
with, like, a cigarette in his hand,
like 80s and 90s. Yeah, I'm like all 80s, just running. Yeah, and he'd be like, "Okay, I'm done." But and then Duck Hunt.
Marone, I didn't make it.
And then Duck Hunt. I love Duck Hunt. That was my favorite. And like we used to take like the little like gun, I guess, and like put it right up to the screen to like cheat because we would get so frustrated.
Oh man! And then remember like. Do you remember doing this? Like you would play around and like inevitably like you wouldn't get all the ducks and then that stupid dog would show up and then you just shoot the dog.
Yes, because it'd be so annoying and he'd be like laughing and mocking at you.
So proud of himself, just mocking you. Yeah.
I know, what a jerk.
Apparently the second player could grab the controller. I don't know if you knew this, but you could grab the controller, the second controller, because the gun would be plugged into the first one. Oh, sorry, the zapper, and you could actually control the ducks on the second controller. So
I didn't know that.
Another person could pick up the controller and try to like make the ducks do even worse things in your life.
No
way. Fly around the screen. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. That. I never knew that, and I wish now we really did have a time machine just to go back and do that.
Ask me anything useful for information. I'm not sure if I can say that, but.
And then my brother and I, back in the day, so when Sega came out, we used to play Mortal Kombat like to the death.
Oh yeah, that's the number. Yeah.
That was our favorite. Like I love that game to this day.
And you played on Sega.
Sega.
So it had the blood.
Oh, it had the blood. It had everything. It was awesome.
Nintendo had the sweat.
Oh no, we had fatalities. We had it all. It was amazing. Like spines ripping out. It was gory.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite character?
Gamer girl.
I was a Raiden
Loved
guy.
it.
Totally Raiden.
Raiden was the best.
Teleport down, up.
Yes. Who was it? Obviously all the girls Katana, like Katana.
Right? Katana was one, right?
Yes. And
Johnny
then
Cage,
I loved
take it with sunglasses. And
Johnny Cage was so cool. Baraka. I loved him because he was so cool, like with the swords coming out of his hands. Like,
there was what was it, Scorpion and Sub-Zero? One of them would turn you. It was supposed to be Sub-Zero, turn you an ice block, like punch you and break you. So nice.
Yes, he'd be like, get over here, and then
the other one pulled his spine out, I think, right?
Yep, pulled his spine out. That was Scorpion.
It's like a family show.
Yeah, it was good times. Very, very age appropriate. My parents were totally aware of everything. And then back in the day, did you guys used to go get the video magazines and get all the secret codes?
Heck yeah.
down AA.
Oh my god.
Yes.
We used to go to Barnes and Nobles because what would happen is my parents would love I don't know how this whole thing started. We would go out to eat, whatever, and then we could go Chinese food, shocking. And then we would go to Barnes and Nobles, and we would just I don't know, we just peruse. And I remember just sitting there, and I don't know if they would get annoyed or they probably didn't care. But I would sit there and I would sit down on my little bench, read the entire magazine, put the video game magazine back, grab the next one, all down.
That's what we used to. We used to take a little notebook and we used to write down stuff, information. That way we didn't have to buy it. Once in a while we bought it, and when we bought it, it was sacred. It was the Bible. We had to take care of it. It was
that is so
super
funny.
cool. Yeah.
Do you guys remember going to the video store and renting? Renting video games or going to Blockbuster renting video games for the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Blockbuster was great because I was able to rent you're able to rent all the games that you want there. But what was frustrating is when a new game came out, it's you went there to get the game, to rent it, to try it out, and they were all gone. They were all sold out.
A wall of them, right?
Yeah,
it must have been 30 copies and somehow miraculously
you saw the box. The box was there, but there was no blue cartridge box behind it to take it and rent
Bring
it.
it up. Yep.
Yeah. But when I was younger, the first video game obviously I did was Atari also. But I discovered it. It was weird because I was, I don't know, fishing around in my garage and I found this Atari system with the Joy-Cons and everything, the joysticks. And the first game I ever played was Pong. And it is I'm sitting there. I remember sitting there by myself
with the paddles,
and I'm just trying to figure out what is this? It's an alien coming in and finding new technology, and you're what is this? And you're just putting things in, and you're pushing things around, and you're trying, and then somehow I managed to get it to work, and that was my gateway into video games.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Watching the one little Pong ball go across, and you're moving the bar up and down. It looked like a little tennis court, and from there I upgraded as soon as they came out, or I would ask for them for Christmas or my birthday, and I went on to Nintendo and then Super Nintendo. I was a big Nintendo fan. And I would play Street Fighter, Mario Kart.
Street Fighter was the best.
Yes. All the regular Super Marios. Yep. You just have those songs ingrained in your childhood memories.
Oh heck yeah, man!
Did you guys ever play Toe Jam and Earl?
Oh my god,
that was the best. I love that game.
Aliens trying to get home by just running around and.
That was another game that we loved.
Yeah, and for my, it always progressed, and then I always kind of battled with myself. Should I try Sega? Should I try Xbox? Because they weren't Nintendo, but there were all these new systems coming out, Sega Genesis and. It
was you had to almost prescribe to one or the other. Nintendo and Sega were
pick a side.
They would mock each other in commercials.
Yeah,
because it was the little stupid blue hedgehog would be oh, I'm so much faster. Catch me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because you would buy a Genesis, and then what would happen is on the back of the box, you'd cut out the little cardboard, and then you get your receipt, and you'd mail it away, and 6 to 8 weeks later, you would get your Sonic the Hedgehog in the mail. It was insane.
We sure did. We got our Sonic the Hedgehog. Man, we loved that game. That was awesome.
You know what's funny, though, is there was obviously there was no internet then, so everything was either through these magazines, like Nintendo Power, that was the jam, or it would be you talk to people at school and be all right, what do you do here? And I remember being younger, that's when I think I got Nintendo Power because we were playing Contra. Remember Contra with the 30 less code? And that was the best because that for co-op, playing my parents didn't play with my sister and I remember once we felt 30 lives, you died, you lose all your 30 lives, you hit continue, you get 30 more. So it was they wanted you to just finish this game. So I remember that my sister and I, she wasn't a big gamer then, but we would play through and you could go through the whole game guarantee that unless you really mess something up, like you could get through with your 60 lives, whatever it is, you know. But it's funny, man, because some of these games are just like, did you do the thing like where you like pass the controller? Where like it's like a 1-player game, but like you die and then you give the controller to like your sibling, and then when they get back to you, like there's a pass the controller. Begrudgingly,
or the turns were never even. I have to say, because they'd be like, okay, let me do this one more round, one more chance, one more chance. And you'd be like, all right, fine, you know, and you wait.
I remember looking for also like when you went out to places like a movie theater or a bowling alley, there were those arcade games, and they always had the same arcade games. I don't know if you guys ever remember the game Metal Slug? Like it was
I love that.
It was just like it was like a little shooter game.
It was like a cuter, more modern Contra.
Yeah, and exactly, like a Contra, and you would just, you'd fight these aliens, but every time I saw that game, when I went to bowling, I went to the movie theaters, I went to a pizzeria, I had to play it, and I always played it with a buddy or some random person next to me, would see me playing, and they'd come up, and it was just so much fun, playing those old school games, and even now, sometimes I kind of download it as like on emulators or some type of new version of it on like the Nintendo Switch, I think has it, or on the computer, because it's just fun to relive that like nostalgia factor,
Yeah, because like the thing was like you go to the arcades and like it would be so different than your house because like number one, the games are so much better like outside of your house, and then two, like there were these games like Ninja Turtles and like X-Men where like you could play with like 4 people at a time or like 6 people at a time, or even the Simpsons with 4 people at a time, and you throw a lot of quarters in that thing, but it was like this like group experience, and like you mentioned it too, like I remember this feeling of like you suddenly had this like crew of people you'd never met in your lives who were like, okay, you got this, who are you gonna play? You're playing Michelangelo, you're playing I'm playing Raphael, I don't want to play Raphael, fine, I'll play Raphael, and then you go on and like it was like we're gonna do this, and like you would like that would be you're trying to get through it as long as you had quarters, you were making your way through.
So I got a funny story, actually, maybe not really funny, but so back in the day, do you remember the Pizza Hut on like Post Avenue in Westbury in Long Island?
Oh yeah, I passed that before. I mean, I went to similar ones, but yeah.
So back in the day, there was a Pizza Hut. We went there as a family, and in like the little lobby area, there was a bunch of arcade games. So we went there, and like my brother was super obsessed with games. So we went, we ate, and my brother was playing games. Like he finished early. He's going to play games. My dad gave him a bunch of quarters, and my dad was like, okay, we're done eating, we're leaving. And my brother's like, still playing. So like, one more round, almost done. And so my dad's like, okay, we're going in the car now, we're leaving. So we all sit, and my dad, is like mumbling like, look at him, he's still playing the game, blah, 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 blah. All suddenly, a bunch of police.
Sounds like a character.
Yeah, no, he was, trust me. It was like beep, 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 beep. So we're all sitting in the car, and we're all like, oh, Anthony with his obsession with his games. And a bunch of police cars come rolling up to Pizza Hut. The place was getting robbed. My brother was playing. Oh, no. He was playing games in the front, unbeknownst to him. The police officers came. They escorted him out, and my mom was like all like scared and shaky because like there was some, like I guess someone was holding up the place. My brother was there, just blindly playing games, having a good time.
Oh my god!
I would never forget that. That was like insane.
My god! I guess it's good you guys were like no longer sitting at a table at that point.
I guess so, right? I mean, but then my poor brother
by himself, he's off there just jamming out, hitting buttons.
Just having a good time.
There's so much more here for you to do, and you want to go to the arcade.
Yes, I do.
It's so true.
That's where all the kids are hanging out, mom and dad.
Yeah, that's where everybody was. That's where the cool.
You want to be social? You want to be social, Mom?
Right. And again, and it wouldn't matter because they would be the same games: the Ninja Turtles, the Simpsons, the whatever, right? And it would just aggravate my parents, and I didn't mean to do it on purpose. I didn't mean to aggravate my parents.
Not.
It's just that's what we were into at the time, But
no, I mean, it's somebody who would get the perfect attendance award would probably not want to,
No, of course not.
Yeah, and I think about it now too because when I take my kids on vacation, the same thing happens. Like I'm like, oh my god, I've become my father. Like, we go on vacation. They want to play in the arcade, and I'm like, we're here. There's a pool here. There's rides here. There's this.
Right.
Why do you need to go? And it's the same games. Like my son Lucas always plays Jurassic Park. I don't know if you've seen the Jurassic Park arcade game. You sit down.
The one where you're in a Jeep and you're like.
Yeah. And you just shoot dinosaurs and things and save people. And then he always wants to play it. Always.
If it followed the movie, it would really be that like you cannot survive that no matter what. Like you get in the Jeep, you put your money in, and you should just be eating. And you'd be like, oh, I guess should have seen that coming.
That's it. Like, Raptor's gonna come get you real quick.
But I'm kind of giving myself some therapy now because as I do this episode with you guys, I'm like, oh my God, he was me when I was younger. Like I wanted to play the Ninja Turtles, the Metal Slug, the whatever. So maybe I should like do a little self-check and kind of take a break and like not get mad at him because he wants to wants to do the same thing.
But like,
listen, I think you're allowed to like jump in there and say like, this is a good game. This is worth their money. This is not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Should we get
and like,
into the,
I was gonna say, like, should we get into it? Because like, you know, like, but do you guys actually play games with your kids as a family? Because like we're grown up with like video games, like it seems like it, you know, and I think most of our listeners probably do. Like, do you actually like play video games? I have to say, admittedly, I don't really play as many video games as a family. Like Julie and I will play Mortal Kombat. Yes, I know it's supposed to be older, but
it's amazing that you're doing that. I love that.
That's great.
We play Mortal Kombat. We'll play like Super Smash Brothers. Like we'll play a bunch of games, he and I together.
Wait. I need to know, when you like beat him, do you like stand over him and be like, "That's right"?
Yes, I do. I'm like, I'm like, I'm the OG champion. I got you, brother.
That's
like,
right. Mama knows best.
Because he's like, but then like within 5 seconds, like he's like learned like all the secret codes or whatever. I'm like, what the heck? Like I'm not up to date. You know, like I'm not. He's doing all the research.
Wait,
like,
side to it too.
Yeah.
Do you say like, oh, if you want dinner, you better beat me tonight?
Right.
Wow, it's getting dark up in this piece.
I definitely have threatened him at some different things. I definitely have probably at some point. But like awesome. Even like for example, like today, like so I'm like my limitations in like terms like Sophia really isn't into video games as much. Jean likes like the sports games. I'll play more or less anything. But like even like today, like he just got a monitor, a mouse, and a keyboard for Christmas, and he just got the mouse from his uncle and the keyboard. So he was like super stoked to set it up, and he had like an issue with it. He's like, Mom, what do I do? And I'm like, oh, just like do this, like unplug that, like, you know, you have to basically like disconnect your controller, I'm sure, or whatever, because I had a feeling it was like trying to read both. And then he's like,
first podcast.
I know. He was like, how'd you know? I was like, your mom knows a couple things here or there, you know. But
probably impressed by you for that.
I know, right? Like I feel good every once in a while. I'm like,
impressed by you.
Yes, I'm cool. But like, what games do you recommend?
Yeah, so I try to break these down a little bit, you know, into like categories. Shocking mix maybe with my clipboard, but I would say like from this whole thing, like before we get into this whole like list and everything else, I will say that when I think about this, because like we were talking about this beforehand, we had like a little time to think about it. It's not so much about the video games. It's that like you're doing something that has meaning for your kids, and like just taking the time to do it with them, even if you're not a big gamer. I think like that is like you're just earning that like extra love from your kids. I mean, that is really a strange way of putting it. You're getting loved by video games.
Aww, that's true.
You're filling their bucket up a little bit. They're like, this is a hobby. This is an interest that I have, and you're showing value in what I like. And I think that goes a long way. So maybe you're not a gamer, but we're going to go through a bunch of different games and categories. And within something we hear, maybe you'll jump in. You know, you could even go something classic. But I will say, like, even if it's something you don't like Minecraft, go with it for a little bit. I did it with my son. We tried it this weekend, and it was like I didn't love it. And I told him I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I'm here to kind of hang out and see what he was doing. And he kind of knew that I was being honest with him and all that. But anyway, it's better to like be honest and tell the truth than to pretend, right? But okay, so here we go. So there are a few categories here that I think would be a good way to describe it. So you have your party games, which are like the games that would probably involve like the whole family, right? Like this would be if 4 people or 3 people, in other words, more than 2. You want to sit down, you want to do like an event type thing. Maybe you have like people over the house, like that's one category. And then you have like another category, which is like the couch co-op. And that is like the idea that you're both like playing a game together to work towards a goal, right? But like maybe it's a game that you could have 2 people on the screen or 3 people on the screen, but like you're working as a team to doing something instead of being like you could be competitive like Smash Brothers, but some of these games are everybody's working together. And then we have some games that are like listed as well for like the older ones that we'll kind of get to as well, because this show we kind of have so many kids of all ages, and some of the kids are 45 and some of the kids are younger. So we have a big mix. So all right, so let's jump right in, and we'll talk about a few. So we'll kind of mention also like what systems are on as we go through it as well, because some of you guys have like various systems, but there are opportunities whether you have an iPad or like an Apple TV or that stuff. There are some games there as well, so we're going to mention that too. But we're probably going to jump with the console games first. So Nintendo is like the bread and butter of family games. They have somehow cornered the market. They know that like for the most part, we joked around before about Sarah with Mortal Kombat and like sweat versus blood. So like Nintendo has found a way to kind of make it like they know their market, and they do have other games as well. But like for the most part, you're going to notice that a lot of these are Nintendo games when we talk about the younger ones. So Mario Party has, they might have like 17 different thousand Mario Parties, but Mario Party, I know Mike plays this a lot. This is the game where it's basically a virtual board game. You choose a character, you roll virtual dice, and then you land on a spot. And depending what spot you land on, it turns into like a mini game where everybody plays like a funny game together. And it could be like picking up the controller and blowing up a balloon, or it could be like doing something on the screen where you're matching like a symbol and just kind of like doing it on your own or whatever it is. But it's a funny time, and it's good. But I would say like you have to be aware that these games are typically between 45 minutes and an hour. So if you don't want to dedicate that kind of time, you could still play Mario Party, but like you would just play maybe a series of mini games and having fun that way instead of doing it as like a full traditional game, right? Mike, is it about an hour? Does that matter to you?
So just make sure your kids have the stamina for it. What Mike's saying is absolutely 100% correct. It's the one game could last 40 minutes, and they actually, as you pick like how many rounds you want to go in Mario Party, it tells you this is like 40 minutes, this is like 60 minutes. So
the newer one is a little bit more like you could adjust it, right? So whatever the ones that came out the latest and the greatest is definitely the one.
Yeah, so like when we play with our during our family game nights, the kids get really into it, and then about like round 5, it's like they start to lose stamina, and they wanna go do something else. I mean, you can only play so many mini games before they're like, oh. I mean, my kids also are 10, 7, and 3, so the 3-year-old kind of messes with the controller, but the 10 and 7-year-old and everybody else, you want to try to finish the game. We usually do the lower option, but definitely what Mike is saying, keep an eye on the stamina.
And if you're playing with kids that are younger, this is not a game for under 6. There's too many fine motor controls for it to be fun, I would say. So maybe save that one for the ones that are like maybe 6, 7, 8, maybe 7 or 8 would be better. Then you have games that are like Mario Kart. Mario Kart is... I am still sitting here shocked about Mario Kart, that this Mario Kart 8 has been around for 2 systems, has been on as long as it has. Mario Kart is the perfect game with kids because number one, when they're younger, they don't realize that they're losing. And number two, this actually has settings in there where you could change it so that you can't go drive off the course. You could have it automatically hit the gas pedal for you. And then you could have it where like they're really cheap. You could sell these little plastic steering wheels that you pop the controller into, and then you drive it like a steering wheel, and then you're having a great time. And then you could do one race, you could do 4 races. There's all cartoony characters I recognize. To me, Mario Kart is like the ultimate game.
It is.
You can play with a ton of people too, right?
Yeah. And Hayden is actually part of the Mario Kart because, like Mike said, you can put on the settings and she actually races with us. So it's kind of cool.
Aw, that's so cute.
I love that. Now, my personal favorite, we mentioned this like in our second episode. Trombone Champ is the funniest flipping game you've ever seen. I know Julian plays trombone.
This is
so good. I'm just going to buy it for you. It is like maybe it's $15 when it's not on sale. It's like the best. So basically what this is it's motion controllers. And then you are playing, everyone's playing like a trombone, which sounds ridiculous, but it's like Guitar Hero or Rock Band where like the notes are on the screen. You have to kind of mimic like where it is by using the motion controls like up or down. And then you're playing the main part of the song. So like the background music is played by the computer. You're playing the main part of the song. And you can only imagine how terrible that sounds with trombone. So everyone's laughing their face off because it's so ridiculous. That's also on the Switch. It's on PC, but Switch is probably the way to go. Big Brain Academy. If you're looking for like a kind of a fun type of like competitive like
puzzle
mini games,
game?
but a little bit more like puzzly kind of game, right? It's kind of fun. I think Big Brain Academy is probably like, I want to say maybe 7 and up, maybe 8 and up.
Yeah,
the
we love
simpler
that
things
game.
like matching, but it's definitely what's nice about this game is that like in the context of the game, you could play with 4 people, but you could actually set the difficulty setting for each person. So you could like set the younger ones for like, you know, Pee-wee, or I don't know what setting that would be, but the younger kids, and then you could set the adult ones like a harder difficulty. So like it's genuinely hard for an adult, and then like if somebody beats you, it's like actually like legitimate, you know, versus like but if you have a kid like Ethan, love you Ethan, but you can't go setting your difficulty level super easy just because you want to beat mommy and daddy.
Aww, right.
Another one that's wonderful, which I think is like a very fun game, and I like a lot of these games. Like some of them are competitive, like Mario Kart. Some of them competitive, like, you know, Mario Party. But if you look at, like, for example, Trombone Champ, I mean, it's competitive, but seriously, is anyone really going to like get a trophy from playing trombone? In this game, I respect all trombone players. So in another one that's really good, and I think it's kind of fun because you work together. It could cause mayhem, I have to warn you, but if everyone works together and you have fun with it, there's a great cooking game called Overcooked. I think Overcooked 2 is probably a little bit better, and it's a top-down game where everybody works together to like cook meals. So up on the screen, it'll be like, you're making burgers for this restaurant, and then like you have like people have to grab like the bun and the burger and like cook it, and then grab the tomato and slice it with the cabbage or lettuce rather, and then you assemble it and you get it to the pass. And then I'm like using real cooking terms now, and then like everybody's gonna work together. It's very fun. It's kind of cute. We like that one. A couple like honorable mentions are like What the Golf, quick fun golf game, Boomerang Foo, which is like a fun little competitive like beat each other up top down. One of my absolute favorites, which I think is like maybe one that people should be playing that aren't playing, is Runbow. Mike Levine and I stumbled across this. This is the most ridiculous freaking game I've ever seen. This thing goes on sale most oftentimes for like $3. It is hysterical. It is basically you move from left to right or right to left, whatever. And the reason why it's called Runbow is because you're running and there's like rainbow colors. So in the background, the color is constantly shifting, and there's all these little platforms that are also the same colors. So if the color sweeps across and it's the same color as a platform, the platform disappears because it goes into the background and you can't jump on it. And you're trying to like run to the end of the line, and you could like punch each other as you're running, and you could like kick each other off the course. And it's hysterical. Every round is like what, maybe like what, like 2 minutes tops, a minute and a half. Yeah. And the music's great. It's hysterical. We were like giggling like morons when we were playing this one. You mentioned Smash Brothers. You know, once again, cartoon violence, but violence nonetheless. If you have no problem with that, we don't have a problem with that when the kids got older. When they were a little bit younger, we were kind of wary of it, but Smash Brothers is great. It could get a little frustrating for kids. You could adjust the difficulty level. You could make it so that like there's less power-ups and there's like less characters on the screen. Also, another one that which people may not realize is Wii Sports was like a super popular game that we don't need to talk about because all the grandparents in nursing homes were playing Switch, but or playing Wii. But they actually ported it over and made a new version called Switch Sports. So if you're into, you know, the modern version of the did I just say the bowling? You hear me? So playing bowling and tennis and everything else, it's great because the Switch controllers, people don't realize this. They're actually, they actually have the same functionality as motion. Yeah, they're pretty good, right? Yeah. Anything else was, we got that Smash Brothers, Rainbow, Switch controllers. Oh, Clubhouse Games is pretty good. It's not great, but it has like a mixture of like typical board games, but on there too, like if you were looking for like a mixture of things like random board games, and also having like some things like bowling and darts and things like that, that also has it on there as well. So that's like kind of like that's like the generally speaking, like those kind of party games. There's a few that I would say that if you have now like an Apple TV or like a Chromecast, or, you know, one of the things that maybe you wouldn't typically expect to have like a device that you could use. Jackbox games, we've talked about this before. Drawful. So Jackbox games are like party games. This company was making like quiz games, but they later developed like really fun games. And every year or so they release like the Jackbox Party Pack. So now they're up to like 8, 9, or 10. I don't even know what they're up to now. Maybe it's 10. And like every year, like they come out with new games or new versions of them. But basically the core 3 games that you could get for a few bucks each is Drawful, which is like basically Pictionary. It's hysterical. Like you could like the way it is, it pops up on the screen. Everyone has like their phone or a tablet or something like that. Basically, you need to like turn it on with like the controller for the TV, and then you just grab your phone for the rest of it, and you draw on your phone, and then people have to guess what it is that you drew, and then you vote on what people think is like the name of the actual drawing, which is very funny because when you name it other things, people start to laugh. Fibbage is you try to come up with like a lie and try to like get people to believe it, like the definition of a word. And then another one is Quiplash, which is like apples to apples and Cards Against Humanity, but in a more family friendly kind of way. It's very funny. So those are some great ones. And then if you move over to couch co-op could be like a little bit different. Couch co-op is more of like a typical video game, but like it involves having like a few people on the screen at the same time, if that kind of makes sense, right? So that's like your that's like your Contra and that kind of thing. But some of these are a little bit more fun to like work together and like play. I would say like the ones that are like great, obviously, like, you know, we mentioned like Runbow before. There's another one. The name is ridiculous. It's Lovers in a Dangerous Time. That involves, I know you say it out loud. You're like, what are we playing?
What are we playing?
It's ridiculous. So it's a group of people that are on a spaceship and you have to like work together to like shoot asteroids and stuff. But you have to like work together, run along the spaceship and stuff. It's very cool. Another one that I think of, Mike, because we've talked about this, is Rayman Legends. It's like a typical Super Mario Brothers kind of game, right? Super Mario U Deluxe, Rayman Legends, Mario Wonder, Super Mario 3D World. Pick your flavor of Mario. They're all kind of the same idea. But I will say that if you want your kids to enjoy themselves, and they're younger, you probably want to go with a 2D game versus like a 3D game, because the 3D stuff could get very frustrating for young kids trying to like navigate using like two different control sticks and figuring out how to control your character. But Rayman Legends is a lot of fun. Of the Mario games, I think Mario Wonder is very forgiving. It's probably the latest iteration of the 2D Mario games. Mario U Deluxe, it looks cute, but it's probably a little harder, I think, than a lot of the Mario games. Super Mario 3D is great, but it's not old, but it doesn't have some of the newer like quality of life things that make a game kind of like more friendly for younger kids. But I would say that if you're going to go for Mario, Mario Wonder is probably the way to go. Then you have things like Minecraft. I am not a huge Minecraft guy, but I will say that if you go into creative mode and you want to just like build a bunch of stuff with your kids and like make some like basically digital Legos, it's kind of a cool place to start, you know?
Yeah, it's fun. That's a game Julie and I play, and like you can spawn like different things, and like that's fun. That I like.
You like that?
Yeah, I have to say, like the little Asalato, and like.
Did he teach you how to play? Like
he did. Like one time when he was really young, he's probably so embarrassed now for me saying it. He built like a whole like house, and then he spawned a bunch of animals, like dogs, in there, and I was like. He's like, Mom, you want to see where I keep all my animals? Like, I'm like, yeah, sure. And then like they're all like sitting there like on beds, and like there's like 50,000 of them. I'm like, Julian, I was like, I feel like even they're fake, we probably should put them outside to eat like the grass and not be in the house.
It's like Digital PETA shows up and they're like, yeah, this is not going to be okay with us.
I felt kind of bad for them. I was like, let's make them like a little like a cage. So we made them like a little like crate thing. I don't know, like on the outside, like a pen. That's what we did.
Better.
Yeah,
that's
a pen
from like little
outside. Yeah,
that's what like, I love about Minecraft though, is the creativity. You know, like Lucas built a Godzilla in Minecraft.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then he also built like these roller coasters. There's some really creative stuff. Although
there is.
They do grow out of it. They do grow out
really
of
funny.
it, and it's like it kind of dies down. But when they're into it, man, they get some really creative things going.
Yeah, right now Julian's 10. He's really into it, like because all the guys and like they build stuff, they like get stuff. I don't know, they like dig in. I don't know what they're doing half the time, but
I love it.
Him and his group of friends are really totally into it. They even made like a diamond cake for one of the friends, like for their birthday. They were doing that like virtual.
Nice.
They're really cute, I have to say. Like so, like Minecraft's a cool game, I have to say. You know, like
it's
not for all.
Stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not for all.
We were doing some
but,
medical stuff with Jacob and last year, and Ethan didn't know like kind of like how to deal with everything that was going on. Jacob was fine; it was like a whole thing. But anyway, so he made like Jacob was really into axolotls at the time, so Ethan made this whole like axolotl town, and he made this whole aquarium, and it was like it was a nice way to like make a digital gift for somebody. You know, I think he really enjoyed
cute.
that.
I can't stand that. That's
he had
so
like
cute.
a secret world. He's like, you can't look right now in the CV, Jacob. You got to go somewhere else.
Aww,
what was sweet turned into like get out of the room. Another thing that you kind of think about it are like these kind of like cooperative like puzzly kind of games. Snipper Clips is a lot of fun. That's another Nintendo game where you kind of like cut out different shapes and you have to like cut paper out of the characters. You can't really die. You just respawn if you mess up. And then if you work together and like you fit within a certain shape, you just stay there for a second or two and then you win the level. It's kind of cute. Unravel 2, it's like another platformer where like you're both made of yarn and then you kind of have to use like little platformings in your yarn to like climb up things. It's probably for a little bit older kids. I would say like if they're like 8 or 9, 10 maybe, then that would be kind of more of a game for them. If they're a little bit more like savvy with a controller and they want to have like a really interesting time, I've been definitely talking about Portal lately. My son is playing Portal 2. It's a pretty amazing game. It's not really super violent. There's a little bit of violence in it, but instead of using guns, you use like a portal gun where you shoot one wall, one color, the other wall, and you can walk through. So Portal 2 has a cooperative mode where you play these two robots instead of like the character, and then you work together to get through these levels, which is really pretty wild. So then awesome. It's sick, right? It's very cool. Mike, you definitely need to be playing some Portal. Then we move over to the older ones. Okay, so this is like the category where like the material in the games or like the language in the games, the reasons why it would be for older ones are obvious, right? So, all right. So there is a game out there that is amazing. It is amazing. Mike and I are playing this, and of course, then we went to Elden Ring. We paused it. We need to go back to this, but it's called It Takes Two. So this developer, their shtick, I use the word shtick. I've never used that word. So their shtick is that they make these games that you have to work together to actually get through. It can't just be that like one person takes control. You can legitimately not beat the game or get through puzzles unless you're working together. So It Takes Two is the most ridiculous, weird game where these two parents are fighting. They're on the verge of divorcing. And they're fighting it, and then a little girl, I can't remember exactly what happens. I think she like made a doll of the parents, and then she like cries on the doll, falls asleep, and it summons like the Book of Love. It sounds insane. And the book sounds like Antonio Banderas, right? So you play as what happens is the parents get turned into these dolls, these like little like wooden dolls, and they're forced to like work together to get back to their daughter, and the Book of Love refuses to let them like go back to her until they like work out their fighting and whatever. So anyway, so you play these two parents and you go through these ridiculous situations where you're very small. It's kind of like very Toy Story, the size of you, or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And you have to go through this adventure, and it's a split screen. And Mike and I were actually playing at his house and my house, and I could see everything he was doing and everything I was doing. We were playing together, but obviously playing on the couch, playing together. This is the kind of game where there's a mature factor because of the story, but it's amazing in that like you do need to have a little skill with video games, but like this idea of going through this epic story, playing together and not being able to get through it unless you find a way to work together. It's incredible. There's another one about the parents. I think it's like two brothers that are like trying to escape prison. That one has some dark stuff at the end, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend that one, but this one was sick, Mike, right? Like you enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I the whole topic is of like parental divorce. You wouldn't think would be like anywhere near a good video game, but this actually, like you may have heard Mike describe that and like, why would I buy a game about?
I know it's really not exactly selling it. Yeah,
but let me tell you, it actually really works, and the story is it's for mature content, but like the cooperativeness of playing this game, and it meshes well with the story, and it kind of helps kids get through like a serious issue in their life. So it's actually a pretty well developed game. So, and
it's fun to hear them kind of bicker over things because like they're being ridiculous.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, I don't care. We just got to get through this. We got to get through for our daughter. And it's like it's cool because you see it, and I think it deals with conflict, and that alone is like kind of a good thing. So. You said all the good stuff. I don't need to repeat what you said, but that's good. And then there's a few other ones. I personally find that escape rooms in video games could be just terrible and janky, but Escape Academy is killer. It is so good, but once again, sort of 12 and up, maybe 11 and up. Ethan. All right, so maybe 9 and up. you judge as a parent.
Yeah,
but it's a great escape. It's a really well done escape room. And it's on Xbox, on Game Pass. It's really good. You have to like get through these different escape rooms to like move on to the next place. There's different characters that work in the school. They're like crazy situations. But what I liked about it is even if you run out of time, you could use clues. And even if you run out of time, it doesn't matter. You could keep going. I guess you just get like a reward or like a trophy or like points if like you get through it under the time, but it doesn't matter. You could still get through it and have some fun with it. So they had a great time with that. Two games that I'm going to mention that are definitely not for kids. I would say like high school kids, maybe. Diablo 4 is incredible. It's a dungeon crawler. It's really fun. You get to pick a character, go do some dungeons, have some powers, that sort of thing. The younger version of that would be Minecraft Dungeons. It's basically the same idea, but for a younger audience. So if you want to like get that feeling of like crawling into dungeons and getting items and getting stronger and battling big scary monsters, that's kind of a fun way to do it. But Minecraft Dungeons is not a Minecraft game. It's not like we build stuff. It's basically a dungeon game where like it looks like Minecraft characters. It doesn't have anything else besides the characters any more than that. Baldur's Gate 3, probably game of the year across the bat, but I will say the mature level, this might be like gaming with your kids who are now in college. I don't know, but it's amazing. It's Dungeons and Dragons rules 5e. You get to like roll dice and see what happens. Wonderful. A couple like runner-ups or notable mentions. I will say like a super fun casual game, maybe to pass the controller. Two of them was Donut County. Hysterical. It's this game where it's very cartoony, and it's this girl who's friends with a raccoon, and they start like a donut delivery service, and then somehow things go haywire, and instead of delivering donuts, they deliver holes in the ground, and you basically all you do is like suck up the town into holes and like move to the next level. It's something very satisfying about sucking things up with holes. I don't know. Another one is A Short Hike. That's another like calm, relaxing game. Another one that I think I want to mention, which I don't know if it necessarily fits into like family co-op stuff, but it's nice because if you have a Switch, Animal Crossing is another game where like you can play with multiple people. It gets a little weird when you do, but what happened is on a Switch, that one Switch, if you own Animal Crossing and you're not like buying like 5 Switches in the house, but one Switch for you share, the island that you make for the game, it's that one island for everyone. So like when I log on, I'm going to the island and I'm seeing what my wife did. She's making it all beautiful. I show up and like, pick a couple weeds and I go back like, oh, look what Rachel did. But then like everybody's kind of in the same island. It's kind of cool. So as long as the kids aren't stealing our money trees, it's fine. But yeah, no, it's fun. And then lastly, I'll say like if you have an Oculus, what is this, 5 years ago? A Meta Quest, then some of the games are absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, like you would have to have two for some of these, but you could just pass them back and forth. Beat Saber is, most people know about this game. It's like lightsabers and music. Pistol Whip is really cool for an older audience. Same idea, but it's like a music-based John Wick game. Walkabout Mini Golf is incredible. It's a mini golf game, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because what you could do is you can like cast your headset to like an Apple device or to the app or to a TV, and then people that are not currently playing could like see what you're doing and experience it. So then it involves it more of like kind of like a party-ish kind of game. But yeah, no, that I feel like it's a pretty good list, right? I think we kind of. I'd just like to add, if you're a Star Wars fan, there is Vader Immortal for the Oculus, so Yeah, that's pretty wild, right? Just had to throw that one out there. How did we do, Sarah D? You feel pretty?
I think you guys gave me a lot of options to like think about. Definitely like the Trombone Champ. I've been saying I need to get for Julian. We have a Super Smash Brothers, so that feels like that's something I should just like whip out again and have like everyone try to like play and stuff, And plus, doesn't Julian play trombone in school? He does. So that's why I was like, that's why you keep saying like Trombone Champ, and I'm like, I gotta get it. I would laugh if like you don't even tell him that you have it, and then you're like, Julian, come here, and then from the other room he's hearing that, and like Let's see what the experts have to say about like some of the stuff that we've been talking about. I think we kind of mentioned like like there's. When you lose, like, okay, maybe you might rub it in your kid's face that you're the Mortal Kombat champion from like 1990s. But I think there's like the article was saying like there's some like good stuff about like having to like lose and strategize and stuff like that.
I think one of the things that kind of stuck out to us, there's a few articles this week that kind of popped up, right? Like one of them talked about this idea of how like our kids and us growing up like in school, how like we've gotten so used to this idea of like taking a quiz or a test and then like we wait a day or two and then you get the test back and then you have this like latent failure or success after the fact, that it's not that instant awareness of what's going on, where video games teach you something kind of different, which is interesting, is like besides the co-op and collaboration and everything else, is like you get this like instant input of like failing and then trying to like problem solve. And it was kind of an interesting perspective. I never really thought of it that way. And I think it's definitely, it builds some like strength in kids and families, like having this opportunity to mess up and then like, how are we going to fix this? What are we going to do? And then you have to like strategize. And then you get this like instantaneous feedback of knowing if what your plan was, or your idea, or your goal, if you're moving towards success in a situation or if you're moving further away from it. So I like that it's kind of a cool perspective on things.
Yeah, no, just to speak to that point, like a lot of these articles talked about like some of the benefits of playing video games, like that critical thinking. They teach languages, they improve strategy and leadership, stimulate creativity, focus, and visual memory, encourage teamwork, speed up response time. So, you know, there's a lot of benefits to it, you know? Instead of like when you were younger, like, technically I have better hand-eye coordination.
Right.
That was like the big thing. We're like, what does that even mean? What is hand-eye? But I feel like for people that, you know, it's kind of interesting too, but people that are like into music, like I play guitar. I wish I played more, but this idea of like muscle memory, I think there's like a certain kind of like part of your brain that definitely like responds to like this idea of like muscle memory and like training and repetition and learning these skills. And if your kids are into music, there's so many great music games that are out there too that have things that tie into like improving or exploring that side of them. And as a family, I know like we'll post these articles, and there was even an article that was about like there was a research done about Mario Odyssey and 3D games and how it actually shows improvement for depression. But I mean, video games are not the end all be all, but I think that there's something to be said about showing an interest in what your kids are doing. And, you know, not just saying like, I'm the parent, I know what fun is. Be like, what are you into? I mean, it could be sitting down and playing Legos. It doesn't matter. But this is something that like for this small time in their lives until they're 45, I don't know. but they have this time in their lives, this is something that they're really enjoying. And as a parent, like if we could like stop our opinions about what's for kids and what's not for kids and just plop down on the couch and be like, yeah, what are you doing? Pass me a controller. Show me how to play this. There's some definite benefits of doing that. Let me show you. Let me school you.
Right.
You're like, oh, you think you know how to use Kirby? That's not how you use Kirby.
That's not how
exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at us.
Look at us. We're just shining examples of 30 Lives codes. So we have some fun playing about our video games and talking about that list. And I know that there's so many more video games than some of the 30 or so that we mentioned. But we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, you have comments, you want to tell us that we were wrong about our list and how there's more to life than Nintendo, you do so. A topic, an idea, a pairing story, a fail, an injury, you know, a situation at home. Who knows? You can contact us at the show. Maybe even tell us about an upcoming birthday for your kiddo. You can leave us a message or on our Hey Other Parent voicemail line. The phone number's in the show notes. 559-537-KIDS, 559-537-5437, or an easier one, 559-LAY-KIDS if you're feeling French and fancy. 2, you can email the show at heyotherparents@gmail.com. Keep it short, keep it weird, and we will likely get to it for the show. We can't get to everyone, but when we get to related topics, we'll keep those emails close by. And please join us on Instagram at HeyOtherParents, where we keep you up to date with show info, polls, more, and most importantly, I take the special moment to edit this show and listen for any moments where I can be somewhat sarcastic and fill our feed with AI images to make you smile throughout the week.
Okay, and we're back for our time to unplug. Don't forget, we'll be a better we if you take care of me. All right, gentlemen. So what do you have to share today?
So, you know, being sick at home this week and taking care of everybody and watching Harry Potter, you know, I don't know if you guys ever seen in the back, like their picture frames, right? So they're picture frames. There's those moving images of like pictures that's in Harry Potter, right? So I was like, I want to create a wall like that in my house. So for Christmas, I asked for these Frameo picture frames on like Amazon.com. And I have been putting in, so I got them, and I've been putting in these, images or moments that I've recorded on my phone. So now I'm putting those picture frames up on the wall. So like when you walk past, you see like these moving images like you do in Harry Potter.
Oh, no way. Like the live photos in your phone?
That's so cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea, dude.
With the kids' moments. So like, you'll see like, I want to get one for each kid. Right now I just have one, but for like Ellie, so like one picture frame, you'll see all of Ellie's moments, like when she was in dance, when she was this age, and when she hit her first soccer ball, and when she threw her first basketball, so it cycles through all those. It's pretty cool. And
that's awesome.
So right now I've just been kind of putting in just images of our family, of like when we went to Hershey, when we went in the pool, all different videos. And it's really cool. And like everybody's been watching it, like in the house, they'll walk past, like especially little Hayden, she'll be like, "Oh, it's Daddy!" And
is it on like all the time? Like they're
it's
just like
on all the time. It's on all the time on a loop, rotating all the videos. So I don't know if you guys saw my massive tree behind my my dining room with all the pictures. So my idea is I want to replace those still pictures, or maybe keep some of them here and there, and put in a picture frame for Ellie with all her moments, a picture frame for Lucas with all his home moments, and then so as we progress through our lives, I keep updating it, and they see all their moments throughout their lives, by our dinner table. So it's kind of cool.
That's cool. Do you have to plug them in, or like
you do have to plug it in? Yes, you do have to plug it in. So I have like an extension cord, and I'm trying to figure out how to hide the extension
like maybe
cord.
like go behind the wall, like kind of like do one of those deals.
Yes. So it's all a work in progress. But my idea is to create that Harry Potter scene where where you see the people walk past all the picture frames, and they're all moving, like the images are all moving in them. So
all right, I'll pick like 30 of my favorite pictures of myself, and I'll send them to you as soon as possible.
Like just hack into it like one night, and like different faces.
So it's really cool. It's really cool. And when it's done, I'll show you guys. But so that's my unplug. That's what I've been working on. That's my like project.
Oh, nice.
Well done.
What about you, Hype? What you got?
So I think you inspired me this one, Saturday.
Yes.
This because you got like for a little while, Sarah was like, I got a great board game. I'm like, Sarah, give me some information here. So like we did. I really like playing like apples to apples and games that are similar to that. Like obviously the current ones. But there's this great one that's what do you meme? And there was a family edition, and I was telling my wife about it, and she's like, "We don't need more games." Little did I know, she was trying to fool me. She tricked me, and she got it for the holidays. She got what do you mean family edition? She actually picked it up at $5 below, so obviously it was like $5, and nice. It's great. I think it's like the smaller, easier version than like the more sarcastic one. And what it was is you get like 50 or so meme images, and then you get like, so that's like one stack, and then to the stack is you get 3 at a time of these like ridiculous quotes that might fit with like a multitude of different memes. And then you take turns around the table where one person will like choose one of these photo cards, place it down the table, and then the other players have to look at their 3 cards that they have and decide which quote would like really fit that meme, like to make the person laugh. And then you put that one, everyone puts their quote down that they like on the table, you mix them up, and then the person that puts the photo card down chooses their favorite one. And if they choose yours, you get the card, you get a point, and then you rotate that responsibility. And we were laughing. It was great. And like for whatever reason, like one of my kids was in the best of mood, I won't say which one. And we were like, that's it, we're gonna play this game. And like, I want to play a different game. Like, no, we got this, I want to play it. That's it.
Right.
And we played it, and I will say, if you are going to choose a game where kids are being kind of grumpy and whatever, everyone was laughing and smiling within like 3 minutes of playing this game. So it was great. So thank you, Sarah D. Great recommendation.
You're welcome. It's a good time, that one. I like it. So I've been watching The First Wives Club on Netflix. It's like a remake or an adaptation of the 1990s movie, like back in the day. And it's like a really funny movie. The actresses are amazing. Jill Scott's in it, who's also a singer. And And it's just 3 women. They're at different stages in their lives in terms of their marriage and their careers and family life, and they're just trying to find themselves. They're hysterical as they're doing it, and they're really like brutally honest. Like, you know, like if you have like those group of girlfriends, guy friends, mixed group of people that you're just so comfortable with, and they could just kind of like blatantly say like, "Hey, you need to get it together." This is that kind of like movie. It's like, or show, I should say. It's like 3 seasons. I'm only on the first season. I'm kind of late to the game of it, but I've discovered it. It's really good. So if you want to laugh, and like have a good time, that's where it's at right now for me.
Is it on is it Netflix or Hulu?
Yeah,
or where
Netflix.
Where are you watching that? Oh,
Yep,
I see Netflix.
Netflix.
Cool.
Yep.
My wife
So
will
it's a good
definitely want to
time.
check that out.
Yeah, no, it's
Well
a good
done.
time. Yeah, look at us. All right. Well, I think that's it for us for the show, right?
Yeah, I think we definitely delved. I was going to say delve. I'm going to say delve. We're delving for delve. We delved into the world of video games, right? We talked about the family co-op night, the family game night. We talked about co-op. We talked about couch co-op. We talked about how much a couple maybe getting divorced could be fun for a game for you. And we talked about slinging scorpion things across the screen. Finish him, get over here,
Some
and
Ninja
down,
Turtle
down, up
moves.
if you want to be raiding. We got Ninja Turtles. We got it all. We got Kirby smashing faces, but at the end of the day, show some interest in those games with your kiddos, because you never know, you might find that they might really enjoy doing a hobby with you. Maybe when it comes time for you to say, "Hey kids, let's go outside and do yada yada," then maybe they might be more into it. Who knows? But either way, we had a lot of fun here today, and I'd like to take a special moment to thank our listeners, our tip jar supporters for donating to the show. If you want to help support this show to allow us to keep making episodes like this, we do have a tip jar set up using Stripe. In our show notes, members get access to a bonus episode each month. If you have time, we would greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts app or Spotify. Search for the show, scroll down to the bottom, find ratings and reviews, and have some fun. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing again with you next week on Hey the Parents, because it's the 3 of us and all of you. Don't forget to hug your kids and charge your Chromebooks. That's going to do it for me, for Mike, and for Sarah. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace. Hey the Parents is produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desravines, and me, Michael Height. I edit and mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you consider going to our show notes and supporting us through our Stripe tip jar, and consider becoming a member. Doing so supports us and gives you access to an exclusive Hey the Parents episode each month. Find us online on Instagram at Hey the Parents, or send us an email at heytheparents@gmail.com or a voicemail. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.